On to an ET Now exclusive next. AI could replace large pockets of the $900 billion SaaS market. That's the word coming in from Hexaware CEO R. Srikrishna. Over the weekend, the company said it was betting on AI to power its next phase of growth. I got the chance to catch up with the management at the company's Chennai AI lab, where around 700 young engineers are working on AI-led solutions, even as the Hexaware boss told me that half of its current work is already AI-infused. Here's a slice of their exclusive conversation on Hexaware's $3 billion revenue ambition, why AI could replace certain categories of SaaS products, and how it plans to overcome AI-led pricing deflation. Listen. Mr. Srikrishna, good to have you with us here on ET Now, and it's nice to be within your AI lab in Chennai in many ways. It's a sector you're betting big on.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the space, what it's all about, and where we find ourselves in really, and what kind of capabilities you bring to the table with regard to the AI lab itself.
What you see here is the output of what a lab creates.
Right.
The lab itself is elsewhere in this campus, but also in some other cities. It has got about 700 young, highly talented engineers. When I meet them, I get inspired. Even if as you walk around here, you see that they're all very young.
Right.
So this whole narrative that AI is for older people, is going to shrink jobs with younger people, I think is wrong. Because I get inspired when I meet young people, their talent, their creativity. This is the output of what they create.
All right, absolutely. It's very encouraging that you say that, because we live in a time when there's so much uncertainty with the job scenario, but the fact that you have a very visible young demographic here working with AI, I think makes for some solace to how we see the situation moving forward. But let's talk numbers, Mr. Srikrishna. I think reports have suggested that $3 billion in revenue is what you're targeting by 2029. Break that down for us. What gives you the confidence to achieve it, and how do you plan to go about doing that?
See, it's always good for any business to put an aspiration number, which we did some time ago.
Right.
Saying we want to get 3 billion. That includes our organic growth and includes acquisitions. But the most important levers for accelerating growth for us, there were 4, but AI became the 5th. The 4 were, 1, legacy modernization, which we're now calling zero tech debt, which is actually a part of AI. The second is we said we want to do better on private equity channel than we were before. Third, we were absent in the tech business. All of our peers have big business in tech. Last October, we hired a very talented leader called Iravi to lead that business. We're already making solid progress.
Right.
And the 4th was for us to do better in what we think is a great market, notwithstanding the current disturbances, which is Middle East. And the 5th now, of course, is AI and all the new TAMs we've identified.
And speaking of AI itself, you've said that more than 50% of your AI revenue is, or if your revenue is already AI-infused. Could you break that number down for us, what exactly it means? And more importantly, how much of this is genuinely new revenue that you are actually accounting for yourself?
See, our first mission that we set on ourselves, for ourselves in the AI, is that AI should positively impact every single client, the work we do for them every single day. So this 50% is a measure of that progress.
Right.
What it means is that more than 50% of the work we do right now has AI, and it positively impacts customers, either in reducing cost or improving service, or often both. For them.
And even as we speak, there's a $300 billion market that's left for the capturing, and you've already sounded off intentions to take a big part of that for yourself. Realistically, Mr. Srikrishna, how much of that market can you capture for yourself, and what do those dynamics look like at this time and place?
See, the way we define the TAM, which you're talking about, if you go by market estimates, the TAMs for each of the lanes are actually much higher. Let me take 2 examples. Zero tech debt. 220 billion lines of COBOL code in production. There are estimates there that just that TAM is greater than $500 billion.
Right.
I don't think it's actionable. We think about 30 to 40 billion of that is actionable.
Okay.
SaaS market is 900 billion. It's not actionable. Many SaaS companies will survive and thrive, but there are many pockets that we think can be addressed. So we've done a smaller best estimate of what we think is addressable within each of the spaces. Now, for us to get to high growth, we need a fraction of this TAM to work for us.
Okay, so you say fraction, what is that number likely to be like?
Why, even if 1% of the TAM works for us, that's great growth.
All right, that is indeed great growth, simply because the potential is so much, and there is, of course, a whole lot that SaaS is already doing right now that you can probably go about achieving. But there's been a big headline in the last couple of days that's put you in the focus, and that is the fact that you have said that SaaS could well be on its way out, and that it's something that AI could effectively replace. I want to give you the opportunity to maybe delve a little deeper into that and tell me what you mean. I mean, surely there's been talk about SaaS dying for the longest time now. I will give you that. I've covered multiple stories as well, which delves into great detail of how AI could make that happen. But what are you looking at essentially? AI effectively replacing the subscription-led model? Is that becoming obsolete? Why is SaaS dying?
See, if you look at why SaaS grew in the first place, there were two processes encoded into my platform and bring standardization. But the truth is, most large enterprises don't like standardization. They feel it's being forced on them. The second, which is true, is that it's too expensive to build software and too time-consuming to custom build software to replace the SaaS. The second part is no longer true. And the first, people never liked in the first place. So I think that's the fundamental premise. However, if you look at it, there are many types of SaaS that I think will have a moat that we can't cross.
Right.
If they have core data about the enterprise, if they're running, processes that impact, let's say, reporting, processes that impact compliance, that's not our target. But it's a $900 billion market, close to $1 trillion. There are many pockets. We've identified 4 or 5 archetypes that we think are good. Archetype 1, easy to replace software, workflow stuff. Archetype 2, where people are paying for double licenses. There's a Salesforce license and there's a Viva license on top, as an example. Archetype 3, the SaaS companies decided they're going to sunset that product.
Right.
Now, for a client, what are the choice? I go and find another SaaS, or now there's a new choice. You can custom build it. So that's a third archetype. So there are a few archetypes that we feel pretty good are going to be rich targets for us, and even just sunset products. Basic research will throw up, there are 150 companies that have said they're not going to support sunset products. The fourth, by the way, is customers are giving their data and renting intelligence. They're given 10 years worth of transaction data and they got PDF reports. They don't even access to their own data. So I think there are good archetypes for us to
Absolutely.
address.
And that's fertile ground really for you to go about, making that replacement happen. But even as we speak, you've completed 4 zero-license deals. I think Zero Tech Debt has about 40 clients at this time in place. When do you see these offerings meaningfully add to revenue right here?
So Zero Tech Debt, I'm not sure where you got the number 40 from, but it's more than the 4. Zero license, we only started in Jan. Zero Tech Debt, the earlier avatar was legacy modernization, which we started last Jan.
Okay.
So that has more revenues right now. And it will have more meaningful revenues in the near term. In Zero Tech Debt, we actually said in the last quarter, earlier in the year, we said we got our first double-digit $1 million deal. Last quarter, we said we got our second double-digit $1 million deal on legacy modernization. And I think we'll have more double-digit $1 million deals on Zero Tech Debt before this year is out. So that'll be, first off the bat, it being more meaningful. I think zero license, a lot of the deals right now, clients love the concept. First, they don't believe it, but once we show them, they like the concept. Then we pick up one software or one small pool and say, let's prove it. I think some of these clients, once we prove it, they're going to say, hey, my total SaaS spend is whatever, $40 million a year, $80 million a year. Give us a full list. We have a platform where you put in the name of a SaaS platform. In about 2 minutes, because 8 agents working in the background, it'll tell you what we can do with it.
Right.